So JJ the Mime's already saying, "What's y'all thought on Sean
Perfect
Payton?"
start. Perfect start.
Yeah, that's probably, I think, was the first thing we were going to talk about.
Yeah.
So I obviously, Sean Payton has a history with the Cowboys and everyone knows Sean Payton's a great offensive-minded coach. He's won with players, obviously at Drew Brees for the longest time, but he's also won with Teddy Bridgewaters and Taysom Hills. So obviously he brings a pedigree that he would only help a Dak Prescott, right? So I'm pretty much, I would be open to bringing in Sean Payton because I think he's only going to make our offense better. But I did see a statistic of Sean Payton stats versus Mike McCarthy stats, and they almost are identical.
That's what I was just gonna say. Like he's a big name. He has won a Super Bowl. He's had a great team, and he's done well with the weapons that he has. So all these things are good, but I don't know if it's just the coaches are not in these situations are just copy paste, right? And I'm not saying that that's what you were suggesting, but that's a good point. If McCarthy and Sean Payton stats are similar, like I'm trying to think ahead now in a chess match. Well, what would you call out about Sean Payton? Let's say he coaches the Cowboys and ends up losing in the first round. Well, what are people going to say about Sean Payton?
It'll be the same thing. He only won one Super Bowl. Okay, so let's say
Sean
Payton versus Mike McCarthy. Only won one Super Bowl with Drew Brees, who's arguably a first ballot. Well, he is a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
So one playoff win with Drew Brees, or one Super Bowl win with Drew Brees. His playoff wins versus losses against Mike McCarthy are almost identical. His season, the only thing I'd say with Sean Payton is he has won with quarterbacks that aren't Hall of Famers, whereas Mike McCarthy, his 1 year with the backups when Dak went down, what did we finish, 6-10? Where Mike McCarthy with Teddy Bridgewater and Taysom Hill, like the Saints won 9 games this year with not a very good team. You know what I mean? So maybe his scheming is good, but there's, like you said, there's always that thing when he does come in and loses, or if he doesn't win, what would people say?
Yeah, and there would be something, and
there always is.
Yeah,
no one's ever happy.
I mean, I don't even know. I'm so wishy-washy on the whole thing because I hear people's arguments and they all make sense. And I don't know enough about. I do lean more towards being like, if Mike McCarthy were to be replaced, I think it wouldn't be a negative thing. For the team, depending on the.
For me, the only person, like, I honestly think we give Mike McCarthy one more year. I do, but the only way I would want to replace him right now is if it was like we can only keep Dan Quinn. If Dan Quinn, Dan Quinn would only stick around if he gets the head coaching position.
That's what I think we're going to be up against right now.
Which I would be okay with, because if we don't do something like that, I don't know the relationship between Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn, but I imagine like that would be hard to do if you were friends. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It'd be hard to be like, yeah, you'd probably almost rather go to Denver or Minnesota, somewhere like that, instead of, kicking out possibly. I mean, they're probably friends.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, if he did stay, excuse me, if he did stay and became the head coach, Quinn, we would need obviously someone to come in and fill the role of defensive coordinator or assist. Like if Dan Quinn would still run it, but he'd have someone because he's got to do some head coaching. Then you need that OC.
Yeah.
Who's going to be able to take up the half.
But you don't know. I mean, Kellen Moore might still be our OC next year.
Well, and can he do that? Does he fill that role? I don't know. You never know what the scenario is like, especially with Jerry Jones. He likes
hovering.
Yeah. So like does Kellen Moore have a killer spell book? Does the Dungeon Master have a killer spell book? But he was a little bit hogtied a little, perhaps.
Well, did you hear that?
I don't know what Jerry would say.
Did you hear that though? Because there was a rumor.
No.
So
I know that's been in the past.
Well, there was So the reason they said Jerry Jones like having Jason Garrett for the longest time was basically because Jason Garrett wouldn't stick up to Jerry Jones and be like, want to do something. Jerry'd be like, no, listen here, boy. Jason would just kind of fall down on his knees. As with what they were saying with Kellen Moore was, they were saying with Kellen Moore, they got the Joneses, Steven and Jerry were getting mad that he was showing too much of his playbook too early in the season.
Yeah, he's exposing himself.
So I think in that situation, if you get a guy, if you get a guy to run your offense, you let him, because then once you start saying that, well, maybe that's why he went so vanilla after, right?
I'm talking about the Dallas Cowboys.